Hello, I'm Zash, and welcome to episode 72 of my Senjou no Maou, or the Devil on G-String Let's Read. Joining me, as always, is my co-reader Faith. Well, Kyousuke's out of the fire, but Usami seems to be in the frying pan. Or, more accurately, falling through space. And we might have a scrambled egg Usami in a few moments, because that's a long way down. But we shall see what happens. Perhaps Kyousuke will manage to save her, somehow, because he is halfway across Central Boulevard. But please enjoy.
Her body stung all over. Even attempting to move was enough to make her bones ache. Something chilly brushed against her face. Snow. It was snowing. Something chilly brushed against her face, and she felt it. That means she's still alive. Haru looked up at the sky. It still bore the deep darkness of night. The pain in her elbow was particularly strong. She would likely develop a nasty bruise there. Haru realized that she had fallen unconscious. But why was she even alive? She knew for a fact that she fell from the roof. Perhaps. She recalled the moment of her fall. When she glanced behind her at the edge of the roof, she saw a ray of hope. She remembered thinking that if she jumped towards it, she might be saved. Haru was now dangling in midair. She had avoided being splattered on the street by landing on a window washing platform. It was suspended no farther than 15 feet from the rooftop. Apparently, she had also managed to land on her feet. Well, she always had been good with heights. Haru took a deep breath. Each heavy gust of wind struck fear into her heart. Just calm down, she told herself. The cable suspending the platform seemed to be quite strong. As long as she didn't panic, she was in no danger of falling. But still, how the hell am I supposed to get down from here?
Megalipses. Ellipses. And just where do you plan on taking us? Mr. Somiya asked softly, despite the gun at his back. We're all going to be boarding a bus. That includes Mr. Imagawa, of course. I'm not exactly in the mood to go sightseeing. Oh, there's no need to worry. It'll only take us about 10 minutes to reach our destination. And that destination will be our new confinement area. It would be dangerous to keep hostages in the same location the entire time. Seeing as the incident began at the Senjou building, the police will have done their homework on it. That likely wouldn't even be necessary, as they should be familiar with Imagawa's schedule for the day. Naturally, they'll have their sights set here first. If they airdropped a few commandos on the rooftop, we wouldn't come out of it unscathed.
I'll be just fine on foot, if it's no further than the bounds of your little war zone here.
Imagawa was still right as rain. Yes, I would expect nothing less from a man who champions CO2 emissions legislation. However, there happens to be an angry mob out there, you see. And there might be a kid or two amongst them who's too blood-starved to follow my orders. Still feel like walking? That's not a lie, as the rioting out there was never really any of my concern. All I did was order them to play to their heart's content. I wouldn't even be able to guarantee my own safety out there. For all I knew, I'd be shot dead by some kid on crack cocaine. You understand my point, I take it. Very well. Then let's set off. Megalipses. Ellipses. Kyousuke! Hey, Kyousuke! My fists hurt. Come on, Kyousuke! Heavy, irritated breathing bothered my ear. Huh? Oh, Aichi? You okay? Well, I wouldn't exactly say okay. I got pretty messed up back there. Where's everyone else? They just ran off because of the fire. I smelled something burning. Fire? Oh yeah. I did that, didn't I? I had Hashimoto pinned down to the ground. He was moaning, and his face was swollen something awful. After the adrenaline rush wore off, my entire body started screaming. I had lost nearly all sensation in the arm I used to pummel Hashimoto. Come on, Kyousuke. Let's get the hell out of here. Aichi stood beside me in tatters. We need to make like a banana before those guys get back. His legs were wobbly. Must have taken quite the beating. Yeah, Hashimoto said there was a way out through this club. Yeah, right. So let's get the fuck out of here. You don't want to be burned alive, do you? You wouldn't happen to know where my cell phone is, would you? What? Cell phone? Who gives a crap, man? You can just buy another one. You're goddamn rich enough. I can understand why Aichi is so worked up. The conflagration downstairs had already spread to this floor. So get up, asswipe! If we dwaddle around, we'll get crapped in here! I guess the police won't be able to use this route either if the building goes up in flames. Give me your cell phone. I don't have one either. They took mine too. Guess I'll just grab one from Hashimoto then. What the fuck, Kyousuke? Dude, we don't have time to dick around. Usami's number is 090. Perfect. I hate myself for how well I remembered it. Come on, man. Just calm down and think this over. I know you, man. I know what you're planning. Yeah, he has stuck with me a lot. God knows why. Don't be a dumbass. These guys are all nuts. Besides, you look like you're in even worse shape than I am. Apparently, I really, truly... What? You saw me?
Oh, it works.
Huh?
Look, I never owned a cell phone before. Feels like my heart's been racing ever since I first held my very own cell.
What?
Oh, I didn't need anything. Just thought I'd call to let you know how nervous I was, waiting with bated breath to see whether or not my call would get through.
Megalipses. Ellipses.
I'll be happy to make do with just a tiny bit of your time.
I don't know. That morning, maybe? If we went to the shrine around 4 or 5, it might work out.
Then it's decided.
Wait. What's decided?
The point is, choose me.
Oh, just get out of here. Megalipses. Ellipses. Ellipses.
Ellipses.
Huh?
Where's
the outfit?
I'm wearing it right now.
That's a jogging suit.
It's an outfit.
Megalipses. Ellipses. To my father, in prison. I'm sorry. Even though she's the daughter of your enemy, Aichi, you go on and get out of here. What? I reached into Hashimoto's breast pocket as he lay unconscious. I feel something hard and rectangular. Alright, found his cell phone. Come on, Kyousuke. What's gotten into you? I don't get you, bro. Safety is right over there. Don't you see that? Yep. Just leave this to the police. This ain't something that kids like us can do anything about. You're probably right. But the police are caught in one of Mao's trademarked stalemates right now. Is it the woman? Is she that important to you? That's not it. Alright, fine. I get it. I'm coming with you. No thanks. You're useless. You'll only slow me down. I ended up overstating it a bit. Sorry, I meant to say that you should get out of here and go straight to the police. They'll be dying to get any information about what's going on in here. Yeah, but... Just shut up and get going already. There was a familiar gun laying on the ground. Presumably, it was the one Hashimoto had been carrying. I picked it up and pointed it at Aichi. Whatever you got, bro, it's terminal. Sorry, man. Yeah, whatever. He spoke solemnly. I'm looking forward to our next club meeting, God. Aichi ran to the door. I should get out of here too, before I become smoked meat. Hashimoto was coming too. I smack him across the cheek. Azai! You little... You should probably get the hell out of here if you don't want to die. Forcing my protesting body back to my feet, I dash outside.
Haru heard the sound of an engine from the distant streets below. It looked like it could be a bus. The large vehicle's cabin lights were on and it sat idling in front of the Sano building. The lights betrayed the silhouettes of nearby people as they boarded the bus in a line. Those must be the hostages. She should make sure to note where this bus drives off to. Her cell phone suddenly rang. Surprise almost made her slip and fall. The platform shook in protest. As I said, she was overcome with emotion over his familiar voice. Her eyes began to tear up. He asked if she was alright. I was just about to ask you that. What's up with the weird number you're calling from? He told her not to worry about it.
Where are you right now?
He asked in a deep voice. It's kind of hard to explain, but... Haru briefed Kyousuke on the current situation. She told him about falling from the roof and how she had survived by jumping to a window cleaning gondola. She also made sure to add that the gondola was now a bit shaky. I've been trying to break the glass for a while now, but I don't think I'm strong enough. He responded with a brief question.
Which floor?
Probably somewhere around the 47th or 48th.
Got it.
His voice left her again after one last short statement.
Just sit tight.
Huh? She found herself dumbstruck by the time the call ended. Don't tell me he's coming to rescue me? Just then the platform shook violently. One of the cables supporting it made a nasty groan. It must be the result of the impact from Haru's fall.
Ellipses. Megallipses. I made my way along the streets to the Sano building. I drove my battered body forward, one step at a time. My right hand held Hashimoto's unwieldy gun. Unlike him, though, I had a little bit of experience with firearms. As long as I was within point-blank range, I'm confident I wouldn't make the critical mistakes he did. Central Boulevard was enveloped in silence. I guess everyone had finally gotten tired of rioting. There was quite a few survivors here and there. A woman peeking out of an upper-story window immediately closed the curtain upon meeting my eyes. I guess that sums up my appearance at the moment.
Well, if it ain't the young master!
A number of men suddenly appeared from a dark alley. They were the Yakuza from the Somayama group. Well, the office is located on Central Boulevard, so I'd suppose it shouldn't come as a surprise that they'd get wrapped up in this. Good to see you're safe. They wore an assortment of different weapons and apparel. Among them was a shirtless man holding a sword, and a man in a suit with sunglasses and a gun. You too, son! Quite the mess we got ourselves into, yeah? Even Horibe was unique in a sense, retaining his usual smile in the face of this situation. Let me tell you, they've kept us on the defensive this whole damn time. But now, I guess it's bedtime for the little brats. We figured it was a good time as any to discipline them a little. I see. The fact that I hear those shits from Shinae are in cahoots with these brats just pisses me off more. The weasels must have forgotten the boss's mercy back when he found it in himself to forgive them. He had a cruel smile on his face. I somehow doubt that Horibe is capable of death. Looks like we won't be making it to Dad's funeral. Tell me about it. First I miss his death, and now I miss the funeral. I'll never live this shame down. Not for the rest of my life. I shook my head. Azai Gonzo doesn't need some formal funeral. The look in Horibe's eyes changed. He's probably pissed off right about now. In fact, I know he is. The beast is wailing in anger. Can you hear him?
I don't need a goddamn funeral. Just get out there and slaughter all who would oppose me.
Well, Horibe? Ellipses! Can you hear him? Horibe looked at me appraisingly for a moment, then opened the way. I continued my march onwards. Megalipses. Ellipses.
What's wrong, boss?
Well, damn! That kid had me quaking in my boots there for a second.
Why?
I could have swore the boss really had come back from hell. That boy's the beast's son, all right. I made my way through the quiet streets of Central Boulevard. My cough continued unabated. Pain coursed through my entire body again, and nausea and chills threatened to bring my feet to a halt. I staggered unsteadily through the night. There was a boy sleeping at the side of the road. After he awoke and slowly came to his feet, his eyes first went to my face, then to the gun I was holding. And then he moved off the road. I spotted a few groups of people on foot, a few people on bikes or motorcycles that seemed to be on lookout. None of them tried to stop me, presumably because I never tried to hide or run away. Cars would come to a stop, but soon continue on their way. Mobs on the street would send me glares, but then just pucker up their brows in disgust. Covered in soot, dirt, and blood, no one stood in my way. The ground shook before my eyes. The light seemed to dance and warp in the air. I just continued forward. I was still a long ways away from losing consciousness. Some passion drove me on towards Sano HQ. I had no idea whether it was love or hatred. I merely prayed to the devil that what little strength I had left wouldn't leave me. At least, not until I get there. Megalipses. Ellipses.
One of the 4 cables supporting the platform had snapped. After a jarring metallic sound, the platform inclined and slammed. The tilt gradually worsened as time passed. The bolt fastening the cable closest to the building was beginning to come loose as well. She tried to jam it back in, but without the proper tools there was nothing she could do. If a second cable snaps, it's all over. The gondola swayed about in the air like a swing, and the footing became precarious. Haru beat against the window pane. She put as much strength into it as possible without losing her footing. Regretfully, the glass was unaffected. Were there any tools she could use to break through the thick glass? Something hard? Or sharp? No, there was nothing. Haru almost fell off the platform in panic. The knowledge that the more panicked she became, the more the platform would shake, did nothing to stop her trembling legs.
I made it. I looked up at the skyscraper. The sky was dark, and I could not spot the platform Usami spoke of. Wait a second. This is rather odd. Weren't the hostages being kept in this building? That should mean the terrorists are holed up in there too. But despite that, it almost felt like a ghost building. At any rate, this isn't the time for hesitation. I need to get inside. The only thing roaming the entrance was silence. I dragged my feet along the floor, searching for an elevator. Is there really no one here? I suddenly stilled my breath and came to a halt. I could see the outlines of a person under the emergency lighting, standing out in the darkness. He held a large black gun at the ready. He was speaking to the darkness in English. I hid behind a large pillar and assessed the situation. The man was planted in front of the elevator hall, of all places. He stood straight up and at attention, without moving an inch. A minute passed, with no change in the situation. What should I do? Should I launch an attack? No, that would be entirely in vain. Judging from his posture and equipment, he's a pro. Maybe I could distract him. I could use the old throw a stone and wait for him to check it out, then make a break for the goal. Ellipses. No, I'm not sure how many elevators there are, but there's no guarantee that one would conveniently be stopped at the first floor. I can't even be sure that they're running at all. So, does that mean I should just wait until he leaves? That seems to be the smartest move. Seems like the terrorists have abandoned this base, though I couldn't tell you why. As long as I wait patiently, he's bound to rendezvous with his comrades at some point. Then again, the light indicating the emergency exit right to my left was illuminated. A stupid idea crosses my mind. I caught a glimpse of the handrail to a staircase just beyond the emergency exit door. It really was an incredibly splendid, stupid idea. My entire body was just aching, screaming at me to go on instead of just stay still. Usami could be anxiously awaiting my help as I sit here. And the more I sit, the more my strength leaves me. Resting makes me want to fall asleep. And on the other hand, moving forward fills me with energy. Yes, that's the way it should be, someone howls into my ear. Finding something reassuring in that advice, I head toward the bright emergency exit sign. Of course, I can just take the stairs to the 47th floor.
Hello? Is that you, Uzai-san? Unable to contain herself, Haru dialed him on her cell phone.
What is it?
He bluntly replied. I'm in a bit of a pickle. Where are you right now?
Inside the building.
She could feel the ground shaking beneath her. What, are you crazy? The terrorists are holding themselves up in here.
If they are, then they're mightily understaffed at the moment.
Ah, that's right. She had just seen a bus loaded with the hostages a short while ago. Thus there's no reason to guard this building anymore. If she just waits a little longer, help will arrive. So are the elevators working?
Beats me.
What? Are they not operating? Come to think of it, she recalled seeing all the lights in the building suddenly turn off. It's also possible that they left a lookout here. As she was pondering the possibilities, Kyousuke spoke up in a deep voice.
Are you alright?
Well, one of the cables snapped. Just then, her ear was blasted by the clattering sound from the phone. It was soon accompanied by the rattle of the wind. What happened? She heard a groan. Oddly enough, what immediately followed was a calm response.
So, you could fall at any minute?
Yeah. Haru was completely in the dark about Isaiah Kyousuke's current situation. She was overcome with anxiety.
Do you know which side of the building you're on?
I would say the west one. It's the side facing that big department store. That was the most she could say. Kyousuke paused for a moment before voicing confirmation. He followed it up with a deep voice.
I'll be there in 10.
She could guess that Kyousuke was injured. But what was sparking all that bravado? Don't tell me. The call ended. The only sound now was the whistling of the wind. He's not planning on climbing the stairs all the way from the first floor, is he? Haru didn't understand. He was supposed to be a cleverer man than that. And he had never once uttered a word about loving Haru. Why? Nevertheless, her chest was ablaze with warmth from the notion.
I stepped through the darkness. The emergency light served as my only beacon. I climbed the stairs, one by one. I forced my leaden feet into action. My consciousness seemed to drift into a state between walking and sleeping. But despite this twilight state, there was only one thing I had control over. It was almost like a special consciousness, one that had been stored away for emergencies. It urged me repeatedly, upwards and onwards. Rather, it didn't urge me. It seemed more to pull me along, as if it were a separate entity. But regardless, whether it urged or pulled, it was commanding that I move as fast as possible. There wasn't much time left. I've lost count of how many times I had to peel my soles off the ground against gravity's heavy toll. My thighs are probably swollen like a balloon. Passing areas that look identical to each other over and over only serve to aggravate my dizziness. I focus all strength into my legs as I fight off the nausea. I think I've cleared 10 floors. Just 10. I'll need to repeat what I've done nearly 4 more times. God, it's like I lost a bet or something. Damn you, Usami. If I had just never reunited with her. Megalipses. Ellipses. Multiple times now, I have nearly tripped over my own feet and tumbled down the stairs. I lean against the wall and almost pass out then and there. This is more than just drowsiness. This is the distilled darkness trying to envelop my entire head. Out of the corner of my eye, I see a number written on the wall. 26. I'm still just on the 26th floor. I couldn't hold back my groans as they pierced the darkness. My teeth chattered from the harsh chills. Still, I hadn't been brought to my knees just yet. Even if it was just barely, I was still standing. I don't need anyone's help. Setting my sights on the staircase landing above me, I set out once more.
The tilt grew steeper, its shift heralded by the creaking of twisted metal. How much longer would it hold up? The tension, cooperating with that terrifying force called gravity, had pulled sweat across Haru's face. The fear that any subtle movements could upset the balance of the gondola, however, erased any thoughts of wiping it away. She simply stood and watched the window, picturing the moment that he would show up on the other side. Think. Is there anything that she can do in this situation? Sometimes Haru doubted whether or not she even had the right to be loved by Kyousuke. Has he really forgiven her? After all, the one who brought his life and family to ruin was her very own father. Was it acceptable for her to just sit in fear, awaiting her prince like some damsel in distress? Haru calmly looked over at the cable that was on the verge of snapping off. What would happen if it snapped? The horizontal footing would become vertical. The platform's main face would be unusable, leaving only... Haru carefully made her way to the front of the platform, then placed her foot upon the bar that housed the cable mounts. She didn't know if there would be any point to it. If it came down to just the two cables, the platform wouldn't last much longer anyway. It would only delay the inevitable. No. He said he'd be here in 10 minutes. She had to believe in him. Haru took a deep breath and decided to wait for her savior.
What floor am I on now, I wonder? God knows how many steps I've gone up by now. The steps, even the flat landing, seem to twist and writhe. It's hot. I feel like I'm burning alive. An incessant wheezing is coming from my lungs and throat. What am I still lazing around here for? Hurry. Move. Step. Up. Forward. Damn the soles of my shoes. They refuse to leave the ground, as if they're glued there. My side is met with a stabbing pain whenever I try to breathe. I'm alone. Alone in an artificial construct with no lights and stagnant air. Not even moonlight is permitted to shine in here. But hey, that's what you get when your god is fickle and worthless. Good thing I'm not asking for his help. Solitude makes a person stronger. And if a woman you must protect lies at the end of the solitude, all the better. If you think you can stop me, go ahead and try. There's no room for heaven on this wayward soul's stairway to glory. The howl of a beast tore at my eardrums. It was my voice. What's holding you back? It was Azai's gonzo voice. The turbidity of my consciousness forced me to mistake my own voice. The monster of fear that had pervaded my entire being roared out.
Move forward.
Shoulder the karma of your mother, who died squashed like a worm. Bear the sadness of your brother, who went mad with revenge. And go forth to your enemy's daughter. Megalipses. Ellipses. Ellipses? My head bumped into something. It was the hard wall of iron. I tried pushing against it, but it didn't budge an inch. My fingers started to twitch. My chest was scorched by an inferno of vexation. I looked up at the wall. 46th floor was painted on it. It was a fire shutter. The thick wall that had once saved us now served as an obstacle blocking my path. Clenching my teeth, I rose to my feet. Could something this stupid really be happening? It's just a little further. There are only 1 or 2 floors to go. There must be some other way to get to the upper floors. Dragging along my beaten legs and spirit, I searched the 46th floor. I walked like the dead. It's kinda late, but maybe I should just use the elevator. The terrorists might be gone now. No. Once I got in front of the elevator, I realized something. It's still in operation. There'd be no need to guard an elevator that doesn't work. That means there might still be armed men on the first floor. If I called the elevator to this floor, they'll no doubt find it suspicious and come to check it out. I'll need to find another way. Like a freight elevator, or a dumbwaiter, or something like that. Like a ventilation shaft big enough for a person to fit through. Like anything at all. Like some hidden secret passage. Or a hole that the terrorists blew in the floor. Is there anything at all to get me started? Search. It's already well past the 10 minutes I promised. Will I be breaking yet another promise? Usami! I bet she's placed her faith in me, even now. And yet God damn it! Megalipses. Ellipses. I can expect a more sincere answer this time, I hope. After exactly 1 hour, I received another call from the police. I'm well aware that Superintendent Tokita is in a tough position. The government and the police force are going to want to retain their firm position on this. And that, of course, means they have no intention of allowing the release of prisoners. That said, it's much too convenient to expect me to release the hostages and surrender without seeing proof that at least some of the prisoners have been released. The government probably figures that all they need to do is fire enough cops to correspond to the number of casualties, and everything will turn out fine. However, Superintendent Tokita's next words completely overturned my expectations.
The government has reached a decision. They say they will accept some of your demands.
I laughed through my nose. I hear that negotiators often use feints as strategy.
I can understand why you find it hard to believe, but it's true. In consideration for human life, they have decided to accept your demands, but only under certain conditions.
It took nearly 5 hours less than I thought it would. Honestly, I wasn't sure how probable the odds were of the government accepting my demands until I actually put it into action. It just goes to show you how valuable Imagawa's life is. Or perhaps it's a trap. And those conditions are...
First, they cannot allow all the people you listed to be released.
Very good.
In particular, they refuse to free any extremists who have pitted to overthrow the government in the past. The blacklist is as follows.
He then went on to list the names I had prepared as dummies, one by one. I didn't care about any of those people to begin with. I only included them because I figured they could work as leverage in my negotiations with the police. This is ridiculous. To be truthful, I wanted to give the green light right away, but if I jumped at the offer, they would find that suspicious. I should pretend to be angry, but also show a willingness for compromise. That would leave only
Kakia Yosuke, Minamita Kimie, and Samajima Toshikatsu.
What kind of joke is this? Just 3? As expected, my father made the list. After all, though there was a time he was rumored to be a part of an extremist faction, he was not the real deal. In reality, he's just a good-natured death row inmate with absolutely no political ideals.
This is the best compromise the government can give you. Don't you think you're getting a pretty good deal here?
Indeed I do. It's fantastic. So, does that mean my refusal would result in the immediate use of force?
As I said, it was the best compromise they could make. Think for a moment about how incredibly derailed from common sense this outcome is.
I gave the nod for the time being. I'd like to hear your other conditions before providing you with an answer.
Naturally, they want all hostages released and the demilitarization of the blockaded zone. In addition,
our surrender. If we were judged according to Japanese law, it would without a doubt result in the death penalty. So then, about the prisoners. I gave details on how the prisoners should be escorted out of the country. They are to be airlifted to Komura, near the Japanese coast, and then shipped to North Korea by sea. It's rather similar to my arms smuggling route. I've arranged for a comrade of mine to pick up my dad after the ship gets out of Japanese waters.
Roger that. So would it be safe to say that you have approved of this deal?
I'll call you back in 5 minutes. I then hung up the phone. In any case, the answer I will give in 5 minutes has already been decided. I couldn't suppress my emotions. I won. It was a grand sense of fulfillment. Father.